Today we got King Kong, or I guess more accurately, Kong from Skull Island, taking on the monsters from Rampage, George, Lizzie, and Ralph. Who comes out on top? Well, let's find out. Kong is the bestial ruler of Skull Island, in the form of a gigantic ape, and the last of his kind. He is incredibly fierce and brutal when angered or while in combat. But at the same time, Kong has shown a peaceful and protective side to him as well. This is seen when he befriends Mason Weaver and James Conrad, even going so far as to put himself in danger in order to save Mason from drowning. He's also rather intelligent, or at least smart enough to use weapons in combat, like a tree trunk as a staff, or propeller of a ship as a melee weapon. Kong is massive, standing at 104 feet tall, and is incredibly strong, even despite not being fully grown. He's able to kill a mere squid with his brute strength, can take out smaller skull crawlers with his punches, and can wrestle and pin the alpha skull crawler to the ground with his strength. He's surprisingly quick for a creature of his size, as he's able to dodge a skullcrawler attack from behind. His body's actually designed for flexibility, and those long arms of his allow him to deal devastating blows in combat. On top of all that, he can leap incredibly high and is an expert climber, being able to easily scale up sheer cliffs and mountain faces. Kong is durable enough to withstand machine gun fire from military helicopters and attacks from skull crawlers. And his stamina is so great that even after battling against and killing the alpha skullcrawler, he was able to walk away without any real signs of exhaustion. And then in the other corner, we had the Rampage monsters, the original Wrecking Crew, George, Lizzie, and Ralph. George was a normal albino silverback gorilla, but after being sprayed with an unknown serum, he transformed into a monstrous gorilla with super strength, durability, and speed. At the highest point of his power, he was strong enough to casually throw around military vehicles like toys, and easily lifted a helicopter with one hand. He even threw a tank into a helicopter and knocked a building over. Then, in his battle against Ralph and Lizzie, he was able to throw Ralph very far and hit Lizzie with part of a construction crane, sending her flying into a building. George was also durable enough to fall from a skyscraper, be bitten and dragged around by both Ralph and Lizzie, and still keep on fighting, and is essentially bulletproof and able to take an airstrike. He's also fast and agile enough to evade military jet fire and climb up and scale down skyscrapers. Then we have Ralph, who was a wolf before being hit with the serum and turned into a monstrous giant super wolf. Ralph is strong enough to be able to handle and hold down George with little difficulty, is durable enough to take explosions to the face and keep on fighting, and is much faster than the other two, being able to easily outpace both George and Lizzie. Ralph also developed retractable skin flaps that allowed him to fly and glide like a flying squirrel. And he has large porcupine-like quills on his back and tail that he can use to shoot or impale enemies. Ralph is also a better fighter than George, probably because he lived in the wild and knew more about survival than George did from living in captivity. And finally, last but certainly not least, we've got Lizzie. Being a crocodile, Lizzie is much larger than the other monsters, and is actually able to handle both George and Ralph at the same time. She's strong enough to easily flip over military vehicles and plow through the sides of buildings. And she's got an impressive bite force, as she's able to casually crush helicopters, severely maul George, and absolutely manhandle and actually decapitate Ralph. Lizzie is also a lot more durable than other monsters, as she shrugged off a building falling on her, easily took attacks from George, and an entire belt of grenades going off in her gills only made her stumble. And then, with her large size, she is considerably slower than the other monsters, but is still maneuverable enough to climb up the sides of buildings. So, who wins? Well, let's break it down. So, setting is a really important factor in this fight, because if they just fought on a flat ground, Kong and George couldn't use their agility to their full advantage, and Ralph wouldn't really be able to use his flying or gliding ability. So we're going to put them in Chicago, where the fight took place at the end of Rampage. And instead of the US military, the monsters are having to battle against Kong. Who comes out on top there? Well, the Rampage monsters clearly had the numbers advantage. I mean, it's obviously a 3-on-1 fight, so they can double team, or I guess technically triple team Kong. However, while the monsters definitely have the numbers advantage, Kong has a size advantage. I mean, just look at how massive the beast is. He's 104 feet tall and easily dwarfs George and Ralph, with George being about 40 feet tall and Ralph somewhere in that same range. However, Lizzie might actually be a threat to Kong in the size department, as supposedly the people who worked on the movie said the monster croc was 60 feet tall and 200 feet long. But we'll circle back around to that point later. Right now, I want to focus on strength, because Kong is much stronger than all three of the other monsters, mostly just because of his massive size. Like he crushed a helicopter just by stepping on it, punched several others out of the air, manhandled 2 juvenile skullcrawlers, and flips and throws around the Skull Devil, who is about the same size as Lizzie. That's just more impressive than anything we saw from the other monsters. However, that's not to say the Rampage crew isn't strong. Well, Ralph didn't really impress me much, but George and Lizzie did. Pound for pound, I'd actually say George is stronger than Kong, because he was able to easily knock over small buildings and actually pulled back and temporarily restrained Lizzie. However, his size really does hurt him in this fight, because like how Kong was able to easily smash a helicopter with his foot, George is only big enough to throw it around with both hands. Then, while Lizzie proved she's stronger than George by overpowering him on several occasions, she didn't demonstrate anything that definitively marked her as stronger than Kong. However, durability is a very, very different story. The Rampage monsters have an insane level of durability. Like, Kong wasn't really injured by gunfire, but he definitely felt it. Then his hands were injured and cut up by grabbing a hold of the helicopter's tail rotor. On the other hand, George proved himself to be bulletproof, survived an airstrike, took bats from Ralph and the massive Lizzie, and even had a healing factor, and was able to survive having a pole impaled through his chest. Lizzie no-sold everything that was sent her way, including an RPG to the face, took 6 military helicopter missiles to the face, fell off a skyscraper, and The Rock once put an entire belt of grenades in her gills, and when they went off, they only caused her to stumble. Even Ralph proved himself to be really durable, as he was pretty much bulletproof and no-sold 50 cal bullets, and also took that airstrike alongside George. So basically, it's strength versus durability. In agility, Kong, George, and Ralph are all really fast and agile, but Lizzie is slow as hell. So now that we got physicality out of the way, who is coming out on top in this fight? Well, I think it's safe to say that Kong can easily destroy George and Ralph, or at the very least, easily destroy Ralph. I mean, Ralph never really did much in the movie, was quickly beheaded by Lizzie with one chomp. And look how easily Kong is able to take down normal skull crawlers. George might last a little longer against the big guy, but I'd still say Kong is coming out on top in that one. He's stronger, just as agile as George, and even though George is more durable, I'm not sure how many punches George could actually take from Kong. I'm actually not even sure that Kong couldn't just rip him in half, or rip off some limbs or something like that. No, the real fight here would be Kong versus Lizzie. And that is a really close fight. I mean, Lizzie's bite force is insane. She easily tore through George with her teeth like it was nothing. We've already seen that George is more durable than Kong. She also easily bit off Ralph's head. And Ralph is durable just like George, and arguably more durable than Kong. I mean, he was bulletproof and standing up to 50 cal bullets, while Kong was getting injured. I mean, not a lot, but he was feeling them by lesser bullets. So basically, Lizzie's bite is going to really hurt Kong, if she can get a hold of him. However, Kong is faster and more agile than Lizzie, by like a significant margin. So could Lizzie even catch him? Yeah, I'm betting she can. I mean, she got a jet out of the air, and Kong is just a massive target for her to grab. Lizzie is also significantly more durable than Kong, taking explosions and missiles to the face, and she wasn't put down and wasn't even really phased. However, I still believe Kong can come out on top and beat Lizzie. He's just got a whole lot more experience battling against giant monsters. He's stronger and more agile. He knows how to use tools and makeshift weapons in battle. And if George could beat Lizzie, then I'm betting that Kong can beat her as well. Plus, he killed the Skull Devil, who is pretty comparable to Lizzie. However, while Kong can definitely beat all these monsters one-on-one, it's a 3-on-1 fight, and they're all going to be attacking him at once. Can Kong come out on top then? Yeah, I'm betting he can. Kong has experienced fighting against multiple enemies at once, and he should be able to easily take out George and Ralph very quickly. His massive size will just allow him to crush Ralph, and George goes down easily as well. I mean, even though he had a healing factor, he wasn't healing very quick, and he's going up against an enemy who's over twice his size and is much stronger. Don't think George can come out on top there. Then there's just Lizzie left, and while it'll be a very tough fight, I believe Kong wins that one and wins this whole thing. Kong wins. But what do y'all think? I would love to hear your thoughts. To sound off in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe button. More videos just one every single weekday. And I'll see you next time.